Good Tuesday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain AccuWeather, coming to you by way of the Captain AccuWeather Command Center. On behalf of Weigel's, fuel and food that's fast, fresh, and friendly, here's your East Tennessee weather update. Got to tell you, if you haven't noticed, if you haven't checked out the awesome, and I tell you, awesome banana pudding milk, go bananas for flavor. It's a delicious treat. It's like having a southern dessert right into a bottle of milk. It's delicious if you haven't tried it. It's only around for a limited time. We talk about this all the time. The beautiful, wonderful creations that Weigel's has provided. Of course, Weigel's is just better when it's fresh, farm to store, in 24. It's just better when it's with Tennessee cows. Who would argue with that? But check out the banana pudding milk. Go bananas for flavor. Very happy to have them as a sponsor. By the way, did you notice it started to rain last night? Did you notice the wind? Did you know we had some strong gusty winds? We're going to talk about that. But temperatures are awfully warm for this time of year because the normal high is 65, the normal low is 42. So if we're at 57, you're going to think, are we going to be like at 80 today? No, we're not going to be that warm. We will be holding pretty fairly steady in the 50s, low 60s for much of the day. And by probably midday, 1 o'clock, we'll hit our high temperature and then start to cool back down. But we've been into the low 60s just in the last hour. Now that the rain has really begun to advance, we're at 57 degrees. And where is this rain? Where is this rain you keep talking about? Well, it's not too hard to see. Not too hard to see, but you can see down to the south, Spring City, some heavier rains are now moving into the Knoxville area, around Maryville. We've got some downpours there, also some lightning going on as well. Most of what we see here again is pretty much on the move to the north and east. So Rockwood, Harriman, Spring City, some downpours up toward Oneida. No different situation there. Is also a little soggy, so make sure you are prepared for a little bit of rain as you start the day. And that's going to be how we characterize today. Today's not going to be the most beautiful day, but here's a bigger picture of the radar. You can see that most of the heavier rain southwest of Huntsville is drifting in this direction. So we've got more rain to work with. I would anticipate we're in that half inch, maybe an isolated inch before the day is through, but the heavier rains clearly by far and away are southwest down toward Florence, southwest of Huntsville, and through parts of Alabama at this hour. And boy, is there a lot of lightning to track. Quite a bit of it moving across Louisiana and into Mississippi at this particular time. If you're on the call, I just want to say good morning to you. Are you getting wet? I haven't been outside yet. Well, you'll want the umbrella. I think that would be helpful. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, same time. I got Steve Stone on here who says good morning. He's got the happy face. Happy face to Steve. He's happy regardless whether it's raining or not. Marilyn says good Tuesday morning. Be safe in the rain today. And on Facebook, we'll switch tabs. I got good rainy morning. Need my Weigel's coffee. Ooh, yes. And I got the coffee. 2 cups of coffee. I love that. So anyway, if you're on the call, we'd love to say a shout out or give you a shout out. Also, if you have an observation, temperature, I would love to share that as well. But if you want to call a tale of 2 stories, a tale of 2 seasons, look no further than our friends in Minnesota. They're still being buried right now in snow. Lots of snow has been falling. In fact, if you look closely, you don't see this every day in late March. What am I talking about? The blizzard of 93? No. How about the blizzard of 2024? They got a blizzard warning in Nebraska. Well, I don't live in Nebraska. I understand that. It's kind of like if the tree falls in the forest and you weren't there to hear it. It must not have happened, but it is happening. They've got a blizzard warning until 7 o'clock this morning Central Time in places like Valley County, Nebraska. And they've got more winter weather advisories in much of Minnesota as they continue to see some snow. So I do know that it is late March and we are on Easter week, but it is awfully cold north and west. That has not changed. It is still very, very changeable. As you can see there, more wind advisories. We're going to talk about that here now. High wind warning starts with the Smokies. We've got wind gusts in the Smokies around 80 miles an hour. Now, for someone who might be just passing through town, that sounds crazy, but we do get 70, 75, 80 mile an hour winds in the Smokies under a southeast wind at times, anytime in the springtime during severe weather season, and that could take out power. It could take out trees. So if you're driving through the Smokies, the high wind warning will expire. It is expected to end at 2 o'clock today. And if you need some evidence of why this is localized, look no further than the wind gusts. You can see 40, 50, 60, 64. There are some very strong winds there at the moment. Well, we don't even have a gust in Knoxville at the moment. So again, depends on where you live. And if you're traveling through the Smokies, take note of that. Wind advisories have just now expired. They pulled the trigger early. It was supposed to go, when I prepared this graphic, at 7 a.m. Central. Last I checked, that's 8 o'clock Eastern. So it is only 6:45. So they've already pulled the trigger. There's no more Crossville, no more Jamestown wind advisory. So congratulations, the system is now moving east of you. But we still have gusts of close to 50 for Loudoun County, Monroe County, McMinn County, for example, Morgan, Scott County, as governed by the National Weather Service in Morristown. And there obviously was a wind advisory for the Smokies, but that was upgraded to a warning. So in order to keep track of it all, I encourage you to download my free Captain Accurate Weather app. You can get all the specifics in a much real-time, even when they expire early, you will be notified on the app. So I just want to share that with you as well. By the way, as we jump back on Facebook and YouTube, Wanda says these temperatures are a roller coaster, like you said, and they will continue to be, I think, going into April. Linda Rice says, good morning, David, and Wanda Post saying it sure is warmer this morning. Certainly a warm start. That is part of the story, no doubt. Take a look as far as the winds. We're going to have, I think, easily wind gusts in the Knoxville area, close to 30 to 40 miles an hour. Wouldn't surprise me. Right now we have a wind speed of 6. That's a tough sell, but even last night, as I have some notes here, as you know, I'm a note taker. Yesterday we hit 68 degrees. I was expecting 67. We had a wind gust of 46 miles an hour just before midnight. So if you were alarmed, if you woke up in the middle of the night because of the wind, it's not your imagination. We had a 46 mile an hour gust just before midnight. So far after midnight, we've had a gust of 42. The record high today, 83 from 2007 and 1949. But we have dropped as low as 17 degrees on this date. 17 degrees, can you imagine? 1955. So if you're old enough to remember that year, then you have a good chance of knowing it was cold. And it can be cold, very cold, in late March. Our wind speeds, part of the story, visibility, not so bad. Low clouds, 5 miles visibility. It's the rain that everybody's going to be talking about as they head off to work or school this morning. By the way, I'm excited about the Super Bowl of astronomy. I like to say that Northern Lights are my fast second, but the top spot is reserved for the total solar eclipse, which, by the way, is just 13 days away. It was 2 weeks from yesterday. It's a Monday the 8th. I point this out because we had this experience, as many of you know, 7 years ago in 2017. Well, now, if I had the privilege of seeing it in Madisonville, it was right through the path of totality. If you are going to go to the path, there's some certain spots. It will not be best seen in Tennessee this go around. It'll be best seen in places like Arkansas, southeast Missouri, and Ohio, for example, including Indiana. It is a spectacular sight if you get a chance to see it. The next one's not going to be until, what, 2044? You just have to wait 20 years. That's all. Just 20 years. You'll miss it. One of the best things to see, in my view. Northern Lights happen more frequently than every 20 years. But the total solar eclipse is something to see, and you might want to be expecting lots of traffic. There will be lots of traffic in this path, and of course the big race will be, where's it going to be clear, where's it going to be cloudy? The weather is going to play a huge role. We know where the path is, you can see there, and you can see the times on your screen, but if you are mindful, the total solar eclipse is coming up 13 days from now. Just wanted to pass that along, because in Knoxville, you might get an 80 to 90% coverage. It's not as glorious as it would be in the path. The path of totality, you could get about 3.5, 4 minutes or more, potentially. If you were around Cleveland, Ohio, or Indianapolis, and if the weather's better in Little Rock or Conway, Arkansas, those might be some places to consider. If you're going to be doing some traveling, maybe you have family in those locations. So the total solar eclipse, Monday, April the 8th, you want to kind of get as close to that green line as possible. So some of the things we are watching in terms of the eclipse. Back to the weather, I want to get to the temperatures. We are warm as can be. It's 57 right now in Knoxville, 55 in Maryville, and 52 in Rockwood. By the way, if you haven't picked up a bottle of the all-new banana pudding milk, go bananas for flavor. Love it. It's just better when it's fresh, farm to store in 24. It's just better when it's with Tennessee cows. My friends at Weigel's have discovered the key to me. Keep coming back for more flavored creations. They always come up with the cool flavors. But banana pudding milk, much like the other flavors, will not last forever. It's only around in stores for a limited time only, so check it out today. By the way, as we go back, I want to check in with some of the comments that you may have. Liza says, yum, she's excited about the banana pudding milk. It's kind of like, you know, when the dessert menu is offered up in a restaurant and they say they have banana pudding pie or something of that nature, I'm all over it. I'm all over that. So you know I'd have to try the milk. By the way, Danny says, good morning, David. Hope you had a wonderful day. And he says, go Vols. Absolutely. Michael Norman says it feels a lot like spring. He's on Team Spring. I designated Michael Norman as the commissioner of Team Spring. He is pulling for some really warm weather. He's going to love my 7-day when I get to that here in just a moment. It is now 6:50. My goal is to be done in 10 minutes or less. I can name that tune. I believe I can do it. And if you think 57 is warm, take a look at Nashville. They're just as warm. Well, Chattanooga is 57. Nashville's 58. Jackson is 58 degrees, and we've got 52 in Lexington, Kentucky, up in Fayette County in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. A lot of rain as we look at this picture again. It's going to be rainy at times. It'll be light rain for a while, then maybe steady rain, then moderate rain, and then maybe a downpour. Much of this is going to just kind of linger here, and you can see why, because we have reinforcements. You say reinforcement? Yeah, the reinforcements are down toward Huntsville and north of Birmingham. So we're going to see this rain come back into play, and that's going to be something we're going to watch very, very closely, no doubt. I want to go back and show you real quickly, if you are new to my app, they have one of the cool things you can see, if I come back on camera. I have the storm tracks. You say, what is that? Those are little arrows. So you can track the storms to your neighborhood. If I click on one of these cool little arrows right here, I can see that, ooh, this is kind of cool. I get a fan. You say, what's a fan? That's what the fan looks like. Does that look cool? You can track the storms and the rain to your neighborhood. You also get future radar 1 hour, future radar 2 hours, and future radar 24 hours. You can plan your whole day ahead just every day going to the app and checking the radar, especially when you've got rain in the forecast, and the app is free. Just go to the App Store and Google Play. By the way, the rain, as I talk about, still beginning to fill in. It'll be filling in across the Tri-Cities here within the hour, so if you're trying to race away from it, you're going to have a hard time doing so. The sun is up at 7:30. That's pretty easy to remember. 7:30, sun's up now. We might be crying, well, maybe just water on the eyeballs from the rain falling. 7:53. Maybe you're crying because you don't like the rain, but we could use it. We could use a little rain at this point. Sunsets at 7:53 to give you some perspective. Our kids will be going to school, most likely, with some wet roads and some rain that's coming down, a little sloppy, but temperatures should be in the 50s. Maybe we just moved, because our first box there is our current temperature, back to 61 and 57 at 10. So kind of in the low to mid 60s for the afternoon high, which may very well come before 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. So here are my expectations. 64 for Knoxville, 63 for Kingston, 62 for Crossville. These are my expected highs. I don't think you'll get out of the 50s once the sun's up in Oneida and La Follette. I've got you there at 59 degrees. I got some other notes from you popping in here. Carrie Aguilar says, can someone kindly explain to me why the schools are letting out early on April 8th for the solar eclipse? It's because it's the Super Bowl of astronomy, Carrie. I think people, and teachers too, understand how remarkable it is. And for those of us, we were given a treat 7 years ago. Wasn't that long ago. 7 years ago, we had one. I was on local TV at the time. 6 hours of coverage. We were on TV the whole time, and it was just awesome. We interviewed some people from the United Kingdom. They came in from England just to see the total solar eclipse. So it is a big deal. A lot of folks do get excited, like total eclipse watchers. They'll travel to any continent in the world to see it in some cases. There are those people that love this event. 64 degrees, my expected high today in Knoxville. Let's get to the headlines. It's 6:53. It's going to be rainy at times today. Yeah, we can see that. That's not much of a forecast, Aldrich. I can see it on the radar. Yes, it's going to continue like this through the rest of the day. Early clouds to sun tomorrow. And if we see a stray shower tomorrow, 20% chance it's going to be in the early morning hours. But it's going to be mostly sunny on Thursday. Love that. Well, how much rain do you think we're going to get? Let's take a look and take a look at the amount of rain. It's probably going to be closing in on a ½ inch or more. Probably lesser amounts if you're in Morristown or Newport. This takes us through 5 o'clock today. While some might get significantly more. You said a ½ inch. Well, that's Knoxville. Well, what if you're in Crossville? It could be 1.5 inches. Oh, man. Can't you just pick one? I can't, because we're a diverse little group of people, right? We've got some heavy rain on the west side of the storm, lesser amounts on the east side. Greenville may pick up less than a ½ inch, but that's through the 5 o'clock drive home today. So there could be some standing water where you see over 1 inch of rain. That would be Wartburg, Morgan County, possibly 1 inch around Oneida and Jamestown. Again, this is just a projection. It's just a projection, but it does suggest the heavier rains are going to be west of I-75. Then you go through about 11 o'clock tonight, maybe a few more drops, but it's pretty much winding down. This gives us a grand total of Knoxville projected at 0.61. So a little more than a half inch for most of us in the valley, significantly more expected in the plateau. Now, temperatures I mentioned are cold to the far northwest. We talked about the blizzard warning in Nebraska, blizzard warning 2024. We love to reminisce about our 1993 blizzard, but they've got a blizzard, in fact, in places like Nebraska. And why not? Because they're single digits. That's some pretty cold air. You look up here and you say, that's just like a one town. No, it's not more, it's more than one town. It's like -1 here, -1 here. You go into Canada, it might even be colder, but we've got some really cold air that's dropping down into the United States in the single digits. There's no doubt it is cold. I certainly would imagine that winter, this is some of the worst winter that Minneapolis and places like Minnesota have experienced the whole season. Right? They get it in late March, probably scratching their head, what's going on? Well, let me try to explain what's going on. We're kind of like on the, am I going to go, when I go to the beach, is it going to be high tide or low tide? The answer is yes. And you'll get both high tide, low tide the same day. Same situation in a week's forecast. You find, pick out your favorite town. You can see the cold areas are where it's purple and light blue. And all the warm areas with the red arrows are coming up from the south, from Atlanta to Knoxville. This takes us through the rest of this morning and certainly through the afternoon. These are 5,000-foot temperatures. That's a critical level for snow to form. And you can see we've got really cold air around Winnipeg. Those are the single digits. Well, now, we're not going to get that cold, but it will get modified as we head through the rest of the week. That's certainly Thursday. We get into Good Friday. It may start to warm up this Easter. In fact, the 8 o'clock temperature in the morning on Easter Sunday looks very warm in Dallas and places like, say, even Memphis. But then the flip-flop comes back around. May not happen on April Fool's Day or April 2nd at this rate, but it will come back. As you can see here, it looks pretty cold as we move into April 3rd, April 4th, and so on. So the cold air does return. It's back and forth. So if you say, hey, it's going to be this or it's going to be that, it's constantly changing, which is why I would urge you to remember the basketball season. Well, what am I talking about? Well, a fellow meteorologist shared this at a weather conference years ago. He said, next time you complain a meteorologist is wrong, remember your bracket. Oh, you got me there. How's your bracket? Did you have Kentucky in the Sweet 16? Did you have Auburn? How about Kansas? You know what I'm talking about, because predicting the future is hard. It is hard because it's always changing, which is another reason why I think you like watching what's going on. But meteorologist Kyle Dennis, who used to work in Charleston, I believe Savannah as well, had put this out at a conference years ago. I'd like to share that with you. 56 is our current temperature. We have a southwest wind at 5 miles an hour. We don't have, or maybe we do have a wind gust. Let's take a look at the bottom. No wind gust at the moment, just 5 miles an hour, but it's going to be gusty in other places throughout the day. High temperature today, about 64. Here's my valley planner, rainy at times, gray skies, and gusty winds. That's my expectation. With an 80% chance of rain today, any stray showers we get on Wednesday will be short-lived. The Storm Prediction Center is talking about some scattered severe storms today. We got 2 hot spots today, one down toward Destin, one toward Mobile, where we could have some scattered severe storms. There's another hot spot today around Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Muncie. So even into Michigan, they could have some scattered severe storms isolated in the darker green. They put this light green for us because we have the possibility of general thunderstorms. Tomorrow we have 2 hot spots for isolated severe storms. It would be south of Dallas, around Waco, and back into Florida around Gainesville and Jacksonville. That's where we could see some isolated severe storms on Wednesday. But we're going to quiet things down. We'll go from clouds to sun tomorrow, and then it's just a mostly sunny day on Thursday. I think you'll like Thursday, looking pretty good if you're doing some traveling sometime during this Holy Week. By the way, Futurecast shows this front coming in, and it's bringing in with it quite a bit of rain through midday. There's 3:30. You can get a sense it's still going to be a little sloppy with the rain. Front comes through, will dry things out. Winds will subside tonight. That's a good sign. High pressure will take over, and we'll find more sunshine heading into the rest of your Wednesday. Lots of sunshine on Thursday, and so it goes. But that rainmaker will be moving off the East Coast in the coming next 24 to 36 hours or so. But high pressure will be our fair weather friend. If you want to pick out your favorite town, this rain has come in a lot sooner than this model would have projected, because I know it's raining in places like Maryville and Knoxville this morning, but it doesn't show any of those returns. Now, it shows that like it picks back up at noon. I think that's believable. Picks up back with some thunderstorms, potentially a rumble of thunder, certainly a possibility today. But even tonight, partly to mostly cloudy with some patches of fog. We will find fog in the morning, starting off tomorrow morning around 46 degrees or so. And then by midday tomorrow in the low 60s, should finish the day tomorrow in the upper 60s. I have us at 69 degrees on Wednesday afternoon. I just want to say good morning to you. It is now 7 o'clock. I'm wrapping things up. I want to say, Kathy, Nichols Coffee. I don't like the wind, she says, but thank you, David, for always keeping us informed. My pleasure. Kathy, glad to have you with us. And she's also one of my premium members. Happy to have her there. Judy Kerr say, Team Snow is reporting in. So we've got Judy Kerr, who's on Team Snow. We've got Michael Norman. He's on Team Spring. He's excited about warm weather this time of year. And obviously, you can have both. They can coexist. Certainly are on this, the U.S. map. By the way, today, as we're forecasting, 64, rainy at times, gray skies, and if you're just joining me, winds will pick up 10 to 25 with gusts 30 to 40. Don't be surprised if the windows start to rattle a little bit with that wind. High temperature 64 for Knoxville, 65 for Maryville, Alcoa. I'm expecting 68 for Newport. And as we populate the travel forecast, they should be in the low 70s today in Nashville, but only low 60s for Chattanooga. Atlanta, about 65 degrees. Here's your forecast for tonight, 46. Patches of fog may form overnight, but some spots of rain. Partly to mostly cloudy, winds do drop off 3 to 8 miles per hour. And for tonight, we're dropping down to about 40 for Crossville in the heart of Cumberland County, 40 for Wartburg, about 46 for Morristown, White Pine, and Talbot, as well as Jefferson City and Dandridge. Looking ahead to your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast with Easter in view. 69 tomorrow, 62 on Thursdays. We go from clouds to sun tomorrow. But Friday, Good Friday, looks nice and sunny, mostly sunny. And then the warmth comes racing back Saturday and Sunday. And Monday around 77, you say, all must be good with the world. But we just illustrated the warm air comes in, and then the cold air replaces it in early April. It's the way Mother Nature works. And I'm just the messenger. Just wanted to share that with you. By the way, if you haven't picked up a bottle of the wonderful all-new banana pudding milk, banana pudding. I love banana pudding. And if you haven't tried the banana pudding milk, it won't be on shelves forever. It's only around for a limited time, so pick up a bottle. It's just better when it's fresh. Farm to store in 24. It's just better when it's with Tennessee cows. Of course, I love the all-new banana pudding milk. Hopefully, you will pick up a bottle. Maybe you want some hot coffee from Weigel's as you stop by into work or school. Check them out and tell them Captain Accurate sent you. Well, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time.